Hey everybody, Rachel here from Rachthestamper.com. Today I'm going to show you how to make this adorable lantern card. And you could use this for lots of different things. Birthday, actually made this for a birthday card not too long ago, but it's a really fun stamp set to create with. I've seen lots of examples with this. And I'm just going to walk you through this. So we are using the Lighting the Way bundle. It does have coordinating dies. And then we're also going to be using the second largest stitched circle from the Stitched Shapes dies. So I have a little scrap that I'm going to cut that out with. And then I believe these are called Nature's Harvest. These go along with the Nature's Harvest stamp set. We're just using just this die to use our sentiment. So I will have everything linked below. And then for our color combination today, we're using Starry Sky, Daffodil Delight, and Crushed Curry. Okay, so I have a little packet here. So, and the other thing I want to tell you is I did use some of the retiring in color DSP just because I had some left. I just put a little strip down here so it looked cute. So there's that part. So I have my packet here. Now some of these products, you're going to see me like piecing things together. I just kind of try to use all the paper that I can when I'm creating one of these. So that's why you might see things that are like pieced together. So our base is using Starry Sky, 4 1/4 by 11. You're just going to score it in half at 5 1/2. Just move this out of the way. And this we have recently made for our card club. So that is the base. That's pretty much it. We are going to do a little bit of stamping here, but I'm going to show you a couple things first. So I do have a sheet of adhesive backing, and we're going to actually apply that to our basic black. So, oops, I'm going to just take this, and this is cut to 4 inches. I'm just going to line it up, but you can see it's a little bit longer. So I have the first piece there. Then I'm going to take the second piece and just press. And I have another piece, but I don't really need this now, so I'll just end up using this as scrap, okay? So what we're going to do with that is we're going to cut our lantern 2 times because I did stack them together. So we're going to cut the lantern twice. We're going to cut the stitched circle out of a piece of scrap white. And the other thing I'm going to do, I'm going to die cut this at the same time. I'm going to stamp the sentiment, and then I'm going to die cut that. I have a couple more things to do, but I'm just going to do those for now. And for my sentiment, I did use a piece of scrap. If you find that's a little bit too tight, this is just the part when you trim it off what it looks like. That's what you end up with. So if you're trimming your paper to 4 by 5 1/4, that's the piece you'll end up with. So if you want to use something bigger, you absolutely can. I'm just going to pick up my sentiment and Starry Sky ink. And I'm going to do my best to just ink this up and kind of center it. Okay. Oh, wow. Did a good job on that one. All right, I'm going to close this for a moment. And we're going to do a whole bunch of die cutting. So what I did is I kind of just lined this up the best I could because it is a little bit trim, but really I'm just mainly going for the edge pieces. So that's why I said if you feel like you need something that's a little bit bigger, you certainly can use it. I'm just going to grab a little piece of Post-it tape just to tape that down. And we're going to just die cut a bunch of things at the same time. I do need to get a new set of plates because these are starting to leave etch marks, so that will be my next purchase. So I'm going to pop this up top. We're just die cutting a circle, and then we're going to also, I'm going to move this around, we're going to die cut, we're going to have to use this twice, but we're going to die cut our lantern, and then I'm going to put it back in one more time. So I'm going to run this through, and then I'll show you the second set of things we're going to die cut. We're going to run this through. The nice thing about having the adhesive sheet is it makes everything a sticker, so you don't have to worry about putting adhesive onto all of these little pieces here. So I'm going to die cut this again. I'm going to move this down. This part is going to come off. Just going to stick this up here. So we have our sentiment. We have our circle See this, now I will tell you this, because I know sometimes people may wonder, when is it time to get rid of your cutting plates? These, when things really start getting etched into it, that's kind of, or when I notice that little pieces of the paper are getting stuck in. So what I'm actually going to do is I'll take this pad, which is the top pad. This will become my bottom pad. And then I'll bring in a brand new top pad again. So that's how you know, in case you were wondering. I'm going to just flip this for now. So I'm going to die cut my second black piece. And in the meantime, I'm also going to, because I have added some adhesive sheet to the back of this. This is another piece of Starry Sky. And I have a couple of these cut out already, but I'm going to try and see if I can squeeze 3. There are lots of Firefly dies in here, so I'm going to see if I can fit 3 of them on. Some of them may not fully have adhesive, but I'll work with it. I know I have at least 1, so that'll be good. So I'm going to run this through. Now, because this is detailed, I'm going to go back and forth with this portion. All right, so now we have our second lantern, and again, this whole piece I'm going to save. This has no adhesive strip on it whatsoever. This little teeny piece does, but I'm going to save that. And then these, you can see most of them will pop right out. I think I might need 1 more, but we are just probably going to make do with what we have there. There's 3. So what I do is I simply take a piece of adhesive and put it on the back, and then that makes that into a sticker. So it's pretty simple to do. Nope. Take this, pop both of these out. I'll just put this scrap on the side. I'm sure I'll find a use for it. And just put this back in here so I don't lose anything. Now there also are parts in here to make a full-size Firefly. So you have the body, the behind, and the wings. So there's lots of other stuff. And then you also have dies that match all the rest of these as well. So we do still have a little bit of stamping to do, but I want to just show you this part in the meantime. So some time ago, I don't even remember quite honestly when it was, a very good friend of mine, Donna, sent me a sticky mat. And, oh, I thought I lost one of my pieces. Honestly, I have no idea when she sent it to me. It was definitely some time ago, and I don't honestly even know the brand, but I know that they make these in various places. So I'm going to just show you something in case you've never seen this before. She actually cut it for me to be able to mail it. But what you do is you can put a piece of anything on there, and it basically kind of holds it in a tacky pattern until you need to use it. So I'm going to show you how to use it for this. So we have our Daffodil Delight, and then I have a blending brush. We do also have smaller blending brushes, which are really handy because, believe it or not, you wouldn't think that the size really would matter, but it really makes it much easier to handle if you have a smaller brush to get started with. So I have just a little scrap piece up here. So I'm going to just rub this in Daffodil Delight, just tap off a little bit. And I'm kind of going around the whole outside to the center. And then since I'm using the same hue, so we're using yellow, or color, I guess, darker hue, I'm going to go into a little crushed curry and just get in the center, just to make it just a little bit darker there. That's pretty good. We're going to call it quits. So I'm going to see, this should lift. I've actually never used this before. It's just a pretty cool idea, sticky mat, so then you don't get your fingers all over it. So I'm going to set this on the side, and then I'm going to come over here. And actually for this, I'm not going to use this because I am going to stamp off. And so you do want to make sure you replace that so you don't get sticky all over. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to use another scrap, and I have my base card, and what we're going to do is grab kind of like the little trail of Firefly, that makes sense, and our Starry Sky ink. And what we're going to do is just ink and kind of put these in a couple different, doesn't really need to be in the same area. We're just going to, you know, assume like they're being attracted to the lantern. That was kind of what I was going with. I have a couple of them flying away. Kind of tried to like space them out so it was a little bit of stuff everywhere, but not really too concentrated into one specific area, if that makes sense. All right, so now we're going to begin and just build this. I'm just gonna ink this off real quick so I don't, oh, I forgot one other thing I wanted to do actually before I do that. I have my inside panel, and what I did, I'm gonna show you how I did a whoopsie. I actually stamped this once I had it on, so I used the second piece to cover it up. So what you want to do is, if you're going to stamp this, it doesn't have to be super dark, but you want to stamp it before you put it in there. So just stamp. That's going to be kind of my little trail. I'm going to even do one maybe over here. And then I'm going to get out my tiny firefly. Now this is, might do this. Now I'm going to do it dark. So what I'm going to do first though, because you don't really want to mix those two together. So all of these fireflies, these little circles here, they could be moons, but they're kind of like to fill in the butt. So I'm actually going to stamp that part first and then put the body overlay on top of it. So it doesn't have to be super bright. I'm going to go with the stamp off. And I'll make this one a little darker. So then you're going to take your starry sky and you kind of want to have, so it's like giving light to it. It's not really necessarily on the firefly body. So if you kind of zoom away a little bit, that'll kind of be what you're going for if you can use your imagination. And then finally, I'm going to stick with the same sentiment. You're all kinds of wonderful. You could do this for a birthday. I actually did make this the first time and gave it out for a birthday card. It was very well received. I love, ooh, I could have been a little bit better with my stamping there, but I love the script on this, the scripty, and then that big font. I really love that. That's probably one of my favorite parts of this stamp set. Because sometimes when you get something, or you look in the catalog and you're like, that's great. But sometimes just honestly, the script really gets me. I'm going to move this out of the way. I'm going to slide these over here. Slide my scrap paper. Okay, so this, what we're going to do is go ahead and add, because we have lots of little doodly-doo. Here's my other bug. And I have, also the other thing I was going to say is if you wanted to, granted it kind of depends on your point of view, you can die cut the firefly with yellow and just add the little butt on there. I'm going to leave this one regular though this time. And I had a little piece of DSP. Here it is. It's hiding. So this is going to go down here. You could use the plaid, but I kind of thought the dots reminded you almost of like fireflies at night. So that's why I went with that one. All right, so I'm going to put just a teeny bit of glue. Okay, this will be the inside. And what I usually do is I kind of line it up and then just flip it over and make sure it looks like everything lines up smoothly. Give it a nice press. Put a little glue on the back. And put this on the inside. Make sure you have it facing the correct direction. I really love this starry sky. I'm kind of hoping, I know we are in vogue for a color refresh, but I'm really hoping this will be one of the ones that stays. That will be super cool. So you can put this down with glue. If you want to put a little bit of dimensional underneath, you certainly can. What I am going to do, and I'm going to show you this, is I have some mini or some black dimensionals. And what I've been doing is I actually snipped a little piece off here. You'll see it. I'll show you with my snips. I'm just going to follow the edge right here. Okay. And I'm going to put just a half a piece here and here. So what we're going to do first, before I'm getting ahead of myself, is we're going to pop these out because we don't really need these extra black pieces, and they will come out rather easily, but the other way to get them out really easily is actually just to remove your backing. And it's kind of nice because look at that. It peels everything with it. Only missed this other piece because it was separate. So we have one, oops, we have one here. And I'm going to take this and I'm going to stick it directly here. Just doing my best to line it up. So then we have a double thick layer. So you could do this with more than one. Then I'm going to take this. So since I did the stickering 2 times, you can put this flat down. If you wanted to, you could go ahead and add the little pieces of dimensional onto the back there. So we're going to go ahead and put this here. Kind of just decide where you want to line it up. Give it a press. Okay. And then I'm actually going to, I missed one step. So what you want to do is you want to take your fireflies, remove the backing. And what I did is I kind of just stuck them so they would be following the end of this tail. So if you have something that curves in, that's where you're going to go with it, okay? So I'm going to take the rest of these off. A couple of them don't have full adhesive, but they have so much on them, I'm really not concerned with whether or not they're going to fully stick because most of it is a sticker. And I just kind of put them various places. I do want to try to save one for the sentiment. I think I have one more here. Do I? Yes, one more. There's one more. And since I have this one on this side, I'm actually going to change it to this side. But, so this is a little askew because when I did this, you can tell that it's like, it's not really fully lined up. So I'm actually going to take the time and I'm going to do that one more time. So I'm going to grab just a little piece of scrap. We're going to try this one more time. Looks good. All right, and just one more time with our die. I'll line this up. That looks a little bit straighter. Sometimes it's kind of hard to tell if you put your stuff on there kind of cockeyed. I'm going to run this through. And that looks much better, I believe. Yeah, way much better. So you can tell. Also, the nice part about this, when you have a bigger piece, it does have the edging there. So I'm going to get rid of this one. And then I'm going to put some dimensionals, and I'm just going to use black since I already have this broken out. And I tend to do these little black ones in groups of 2 because for me, except I put that one on wrong, I tend to be able to pick up 2 and place 2 better than if I just have 1. So that's truly the only reason. Probably could put one more in here just so it kind of levels off that little kind of slide space. All right, so I'm going to peel this off. And the other reason, I have one other thing I want to do because I think it kind of gives a little bit more sparkle to it, but I tend to wait until the ink is dry just because I'm trying my best not to smudge it. But you can do it in whatever phase you feel works better. Okay, and then I'm going to take this. I have a little spot here that doesn't have adhesive, and I'm going to just put that there. And I kind of almost feel like I almost should do a little butt, but I'm going to leave it. We're going to have 2 different ones. You can tell me in the comments which one you think looks better, with or without the yellow behind. Okay, so final thing that you're going to add to this is you're going to take your Wink of Stella, and you want to start with the darker to the lighter. So I kind of went in and did a little bit of Wink of Stella behind on the yellow here because you kind of want to have that glow. But the other thing I did is I went over top of this so it almost would look like it was lighting up the front of the lantern, just with that like sparkle that sometimes a lantern light gives off. And then to finalize, I went and did like a little twirl. Now, one thing I want to tell you, if you have a brand new pen, sometimes you have to be careful that you don't squeeze it too much, because you'll get a little bit more of a gold swirl instead of just a sparkly area. So that's why I'm trying really not to squeeze, because this is a brand new pen. Sometimes they do give you a little bit of a wonky. But once you get your brush flow a little bit better, it kind of will fill in. And then once it dries, you really will just end up with sparkle instead of anything else. And I want to put a little bit on this guy here, just on the behinds, the firefly behinds. And that is it. So this is the card we created. And then we have the one that has the little yellow behind. This one also is up on dimension a little bit versus this one that's flat. So do you have a preference? Do you like one better than the other one? And if so, please feel free to let me know which one. I hope you have enjoyed watching this card be created today. If you have any comments or suggestions on a future card that you would like to see made, a stamp set used, or some other sort of a tool, please feel free to shoot me a message and let me know. One other thing I wanted to tell you, just in case you may not have a sticky mat, this is the release paper from the adhesive, and this also works really great. So if you have something that you're coloring, say for example this, and you put this down to work on it, you won't get fingerprints on your project. So if you have these little strips, they are pretty handy to be able to use to kind of keep your fingerprints off of whatever it is you're creating. So maybe try that next time and see if that helps you out if you have a hard time holding something still but also keeping your fingers clean. Thank you so much for watching. If you haven't already, I would love for you to subscribe to my channel. Again, if you aren't knowing where you found me from here, this is Rachthestamper's channel. You can find all the supplies we used and more at rachthestamper.com. That is my blog. I have all of the measurements and everything. If you look in the YouTube description below this video, it'll also tell you all the projects that we use. I have my YouTube link. I have all the links to the projects, to my online store, which is rachthestamper.stampinup.net. And if you have any other problems, you can feel free to shoot me an email at rachthestamper@gmail.com. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a wonderful day.